Only rent to youths. Nobody above 40 should get a room here. No couples, no families. Just single young men and women.
Mr. Tade raised an eyebrow.
Sir, if I may ask, why the age limit? That's an unusual request.
Onwa stared at him for a long second.
Just follow the instruction. That's what you are being paid for.
The Evil Landlord. Lagos, the city that never sleeps, where millions hustle from sunrise to sunset, chasing dreams, dodging traffic, and fighting to survive. In the middle of all this noise, in a quiet corner of the town, lived a man that most people had heard about, but very few truly knew. His name was Onwa, a man in his 70s, grey-haired, cleanly dressed, and quiet. To outsiders, he looked like just another elderly man enjoying his retirement. But in reality, Owen was a multi-millionaire. He had houses in different parts of the city, cars he barely drove, and more businesses than he could count. But none of those things gave him peace, because behind the wealth, behind the silence was fear, a deep fear. It wasn't always like this. Many years ago, when Owen was a young man, he was strong, sharp, and hungry for success. He joined a secret society, a powerful confraternity that promised its members wealth, power, and protection in exchange for loyalty and sacrifice. That's where his story truly began. Through money rituals and dark dealings, he rose fast. Money started flowing in like a river. People began to respect him. Others feared him, but none of them knew the truth about how he got rich. And now, decades later, Onwa had everything he ever wanted, except one thing: more time. At 70, his biggest enemy wasn't poverty or failure, it was death. Every morning, he did look in the mirror and hate what he saw. Wrinkles, slow steps, a body getting weaker by the day. He couldn't stand it. The thought of dying, of leaving all he had behind, tormented him day and night. So one afternoon, he did something he hadn't done in years. He went to see the Grand Master of the confraternity. The meeting was quite strange. The room smelled of herbs and incense. Someone sat down and poured out his fear.
Master, I don't want to die. I am not ready. I want to live longer. Please tell me what to do.
The Grand Master just stared at him and smiled.
Come back tomorrow,
he said calmly. The next day, Owen returned. This time, the Grand Master gave him detailed instructions.
Go to the trenches, buy land in the rough part of Lagos, build a house there, a fine one, but don't bring your family, don't reveal your wealth, just act like a simple old man. When it's ready, let out the rooms, but only to young people, no one above 40. Then move in yourself and live among them.
Owen frowned.
And what should I do after that?
The Grand Master leaned forward.
From time to time, ask them for small favors, sweeping, washing, errands, and when they help you, reward them with 5,000 naira. But make sure it's from the bag I will give you. Each time someone accepts that money, 5 years of their life will be added to yours. Subsequently, within a short time, they will die.
Owen sat back, shocked.
5 years per person? And if they help me again?
He asked.
Another 5 years.
The Grand Master replied.
The more they collect, the more you live. That's your new ritual.
That night, Owen sat in his mansion with a wicked smile on his face. He had just found the answer to his biggest fear.
They won't even know what hit them.
In a quiet village in Imo State, far from the noisy streets of Lagos, lived a 24-year-old woman named Mimi. Mimi was smart, strong-willed, beautiful, but what really set her apart was her ambition. She didn't want to stay in the village like most girls her age. She wanted more from life, something different and something bigger. So one evening, she walked into her parents' room and sat down quietly.
Mama, Papa, I've made up my mind I want to move to Lagos.
Her parents looked up slowly. They didn't speak immediately. Then her mother said,
Mimi, Lagos is not a place you just enter like that. That city is not easy. Why don't you stay here and do something small?
Then Mimi said,
Mama, I've tried. Well, I'm not seeing any future here. I want to hustle. I want to work. Let me try, please.
For a while, they said nothing. Then her father nodded slowly.
Alright, but promise us one thing. Don't forget where you are coming from. And whatever happens, stay prayerful.
I promise.
Mimi said. Back in Lagos State, it started quietly. No one in Lagos paid much attention. In one of the city's rougher neighborhoods, a place filled with broken roads, noisy generators, and iron gates covered in dust, construction began on a surprisingly beautiful building. A house, big, modern, and clean. But it wasn't being built in Banana Island or Lekki. It was rising in the trenches. The neighbors were confused.
Who built this kind of house here? This is not a place for rich people, oh.
But no one saw the man behind the project. Owen stayed in the shadows. He walked through an agent, a young man named Mr. Tade, who didn't ask too many questions as long as he was paid. When the building was finished, Onwa gave him a strict instruction.
Only rent to youths. Nobody above 40 should get a room here. No couples, no families. Just single young men and women.
Mr. Tade raised an eyebrow.
Sir, if I may ask, why the age limit? That's an unusual request.
Onwa stared at him for a long second.
Just follow the instruction. That's what you are being paid for.
And so, the house went up for rent. A to-let board was placed outside with Mr. Tade's number boldly printed. Within days, the calls started pouring in. Lagos was full of young people looking for accommodation, especially in new buildings. Some came in person, others called non-stop. Each time an older person showed interest, Mr. Tade would quote a ridiculous price. That was Onwa's trick.
Use rent to scare them off.
But when younger people came, he did reduce the price, offer discounts, and sweeten the deal. Back in Imo State, few weeks later, Mimi packed a small bag. Her mother tucked a small Bible into it. Her father gave her some transport money. They hugged her like they wouldn't see her again. And with that, Mimi left for Lagos. The city greeted her with chaos, noisy buses, long queues, crowded streets. Too many faces, but no familiar ones. But Mimi wasn't afraid. She stayed with a distant cousin for a week while she looked for a place to rent. Then one afternoon, while scrolling through her phone, she saw a post online. New house in Lagos mainland. To let for young tenants only. Call Mr. Tade. She called. The man was friendly. The price was affordable. When she got there, she was shocked. The house was new, clean and quiet. She didn't hesitate. She paid her deposit and moved in the next day. Her room was small, but to her, it felt like freedom. She didn't know who owned the house. She had never seen the landlord. All she knew was that the rent was fair. The neighbors were young and easygoing. And for the first time since arriving in Lagos, she felt settled. What she didn't know was that this house would soon test everything her parents warned her about. While she chased her dreams in the city, back in the village, her parents kept praying for her every morning and every night. They had no idea that their daughter was now living in a house built by a man running from death, a man called Onwa. Within a month, the house was full. Every room occupied by youths aged 20 to 35, students, fresh graduates, hustlers, coppers, freelancers, all happy to be living in such a clean and affordable building. They didn't know the landlord. They had no idea who owned the house. All they knew was that it was peaceful, neat, and cheap for Lagos. They laughed, they cooked, they played music on Friday nights. But none of them knew that death had also rented a room in that house. 2 months later, the real landlord arrived. It was a quiet Saturday morning when a black SUV pulled up in front of the compound. A few of the tenants were outside, washing clothes, chatting, charging phones by the generator. They watched as an elderly man stepped out of the vehicle. He looked humble, a bit fragile, dressed in a plain native outfit with sandals. He greeted them with a smile.
Good morning, my children.
They replied politely, "Good morning, sir." Then he added,
I am Pa Onwa. I am the landlord here. I just came to pack in.
Some smiled, some were confused, but nobody suspected anything. He carried a few bags and walked slowly into the house. His apartment, the one by the corner, had been left vacant all this time, reserved just for him. He opened the door, stepped inside and looked around. The trap had been set. Now it was time to begin. It had been a few days since the landlord moved in. Most of the tenants didn't pay much attention to him. To them, he was just an old man who smiled too much and minded his business. They called him Pa Onwa, humble and quiet, always sitting in front of his apartment, brushing his teeth slowly in the mornings or sipping hot pap in the evenings. But beneath that calm exterior, something dangerous had begun. One morning, Amara, a 26-year-old tenant from Delta State, came out of her room holding her shopping bag. She was headed to the market. As she walked past the landlord, she greeted him warmly.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, my daughter.
Onwa replied, smiling patiently. Then he looked at her and said,
Please, can you help me sweep my apartment when you return? My bag is not what it used to be.
Amara smiled.
No wahala, sir. Let me buy what I need first. I'll be back.
Later that afternoon, she returned. True to her word, she knocked on his door.
It's me, sir, Amara.
Come in.
Onwa called out from inside. She stepped into his living room, neat and quiet, and strangely cold. She picked up the broom by the wall and started sweeping. Owen sat and watched her with the smile of a man who knew something she didn't. When she finished, she stood to leave.
Okay, sir, I am done.
But Owen raised his hand.
Wait.
He got up slowly, walked into his room, and came back holding 5,000 naira in his hands.
Take this. Thank you.
She was surprised.
No, sir. It's just sweeping. I can't collect money for that.
I insist,
he said, holding it out with both hands. She hesitated, then smiled and took it.
Thank you, sir.
She left, and that was the first sacrifice. That night, Owen sat in the darkness of his apartment, cross-legged on the floor, the leather bag beside him. He closed his eyes and whispered.
It has begun.
Far away in an unseen realm, the exchange was made. 5 years of Amara's life were now his. From the next day, Owen started to feel it. His body felt lighter. His back didn't ache as much. He walked with more balance. Even the tremble in his hands had reduced. He smiled to himself.
It's working.
It was a hot afternoon in Lagos. The kind of heat that makes you lazy, slow and tired. Chuka, a 22-year-old university student, walked into the compound. His backpack slung over one shoulder. He had just returned from a long day of lectures and was thinking only of one thing: food. He greeted a few people in the yard and was about to head to his room when he saw the landlord sitting quietly on a plastic chair outside his apartment. Owen smiled as Chuka passed.
My son, welcome. You don't come back from school?
Chuka stopped, adjusted his bag.
Yes, sir. It wasn't easy today. The sun is something else.
Owen nodded, looking tired.
Please, help me with something small,
he said.
I just want you to help me wash a few clothes. My hands are not strong anymore.
Chuka blinked.
Now. I never chopped since morning, no. No problem. Go and eat first. Come later. I'll be waiting.
Chuka sighed.
Okay, sir. I'll come.
Chuka's room was small but neat. A single mattress on the floor, 2 plastic chairs, and a rechargeable lamp charging in the corner. Tunde, his roommate, was lying on the bed scrolling on his phone. Chuka dropped his bag and sat down.
Guy, guess what? This landlord just stopped me outside and asked me to help him wash clothes.
Tunde looked up.
You serious? Yes. Who does that? I'm just coming back now.
Tunde shrugged.
He's old now. Maybe he doesn't have anyone to help him. You said just do it now. You don't know say na old man. I go do am, but I no go sweep this compound tomorrow again, no.
Chuka said, half joking. Chuka returned after eating. Owen was still there, waiting like he knew he'd come. The old man smiled and pointed to a basin of clothes by the corner.
Just those few ones, my son. God will bless you.
Chuka knelt by the basin and started scrubbing. As he washed, they talked.
Oga landlord,
Chuka said.
you dey alone, no wife or children?
Onwa's eyes narrowed. Then he gave a weak smile.
No, I no marry o. No children. It's just me all my life. I focused on work, money. I didn't know I was growing old.
Chuka looked surprised.
Wow. Now wow. You not even try settle down small. That's how life goes sometimes.
Onwa replied, staring into space. After a while, Chuka finished and squeezed the last shirt dry.
I am done, sir. Thank you. But wait, I have something for you.
Owen stood up, went inside and came back with 5,000 naira in his hands. Chuka's eyes widened.
Sir, no need. No, take it. You have done well. This is just small appreciation.
Chuka hesitated for a second, then took the money with a grin.
Thank you, sir. God bless you. Amen, my son.
Owen replied quietly. Chuka walked away, humming, feeling lucky. But behind him, Owen watched in silence, a dark smile crawling across his face. That's 10 years, just like that. Later that night, Owen sat in front of his mirror. His leather ritual bag sat open beside him. He touched his knees. They didn't ache. He stood up and walked a few steps. No stiffness. He looked at his reflection. His face was still old, but somehow he looked stronger.
Youth is sweet,
he muttered.
And I'm just getting started.
Chuka and Tunde were joking outside when another tenant walked past.
This landlord na correct guy you,
Chuka said.
He even gave me 5,000 naira for just washing clothes yesterday.
Tunde laughed.
Guy, are you serious? I will find something to help him with too.
They laughed. They had no idea that behind that 5,000 naira was a ticking clock.